Welcome to Lair, the Alchemist, where we discuss all things heavy metal and hard rock. On today's episode, the question, how much does the sound quality or production of an album affect how much I like that album? And what got me thinking of this is I recently did a video where I talked about let me read the exact title of the video, what makes a band great for me. And I talked about, it all basically really comes down to the songs. And I had a subscriber here leave a comment, and I will read it here. It's Greg Baltzer said, "Just want to add, guitar tones and production is big for me. I sometimes don't care how good the band is if they're using those modern guitar tones or if they have that modern drum sound where the drums sound like typewriters. I've stopped listening to a few bands like Testament, Death Angel, etc. because they're going for these modern sterile tones and production with clicky drums. I can't even bother to give a song a chance if I hear that. I'd rather hear the muddy production of an old Venom album than those new records that sound like they were compiled on a laptop." I thought that was a really great comment, and it really got me thinking. It made me think about, all right, where is the line that I draw with sound quality? When does the sound quality of a record affect how much I enjoy it? Now, I will say this, if I don't like the songs, if I don't like the singer or the band in general, it doesn't matter how good the record sounds, I'm not going to like it just because it sonically sounds really good. But if, let's say there's songs that I like, but where is that line where the production and the sound quality, the audio of the record can make me not like it or not want to listen to it, even though the songs might be okay or pretty good. And there are bands that I actually like, lo-fi productions, simple productions. It can be done right and really add an atmosphere to a record, and I think I'm going to make a video on this. Maybe I made a video on this already. Albums with a lot of atmosphere to them. For instance, I think of like Epicus, Tumicus, Metallicus by Candlemass, the first Black Sabbath record, you mentioned in the comments, Venom, black metal. Those are all albums that are pretty simple lo-fi productions, but it works. It almost adds to the enjoyment of the record. But Greg mentioned here in his comments about these bands that use the more modern productions with the, like he said, the typewriter drums, and this is a theme that pops up in a lot of my videos. Someone commented once about how it's obvious that I don't like a lot of modern productions, stuff that's over-processed on computers. And it's true. There are a bunch of albums where I would enjoy them much better if the production, if they didn't use that real kind of sterile processed drums, quantizing all the sounds. And for me, really, the breaking point is with the loudness wars. Now, you hear me rant about that all the time. I did a video on that. Look that up. It's basically where the dynamics are compromised in the music, and it's done just so it can get this really loud sound. And usually that ends up being very fatiguing and harsh on the ears. You lose the stereo separation and everything that's going on in the music and the warmth and everything. It's something that drove me to vinyl. The 2000s was notorious for bands just releasing louder and louder records. And there's a bunch of albums from that era that have unfortunately been kind of ruined for me by the loudness wars. A great example of that is Death Magnetic by Metallica. I mean, that is the poster child for the loudness wars. And I try to listen to that record. There's actually songs that I like on that record. I actually like the songs, a lot of the songs on it. But it is just so badly produced. It is so harsh and distorted and just a mess that I can't get past it. It ruins the songs for me. Another example would be Ozzy's latest record. Although there's a bunch of songs on that album that I don't like. I've tried to listen to that, and there's some songs that I would really enjoy if it wasn't produced so poorly. there's like some weird low end. It's like so low end heavy that it just becomes this sonic splatter. Like it's just awful. It really takes away from the experience for me. And unfortunately, like a lot of the bands, a bunch of bands that I like have suffered from that at one time or another. And I know what he means by a lot of the modern thrash bands, like these typewriter drums. And so for me, like Testament, Death Angel, when I hear a lot of these new albums, it's like I think that they're good, but I can't totally get into them. I don't come back to them really after a few quick listens, and I think a lot of that has to do with this overcompressed, the drum sounds, the kind of sterile feeling to a lot of these albums. So for me, the production, I guess I would say that modern production has ruined a lot of albums for me, and I am super cautious about when a new record comes out, if I'm even going to buy it or not. You know, I've drawn a line in the sand with this kind of stuff, because so much of this stuff is so difficult to listen to that even if I do kind of like the music, AC/DC's Black Ice is another one that sort of suffers from that. It's very fatiguing on the ears to me. But if the production is really harsh and overcompressed and everything, man, I don't even listen to it anymore. Honestly, I'll give it a try on Spotify, but I'm not spending $25, $30 on a record that just to me is a sonic mess. Unfortunately, a lot of death metal, newer death metal suffers from this. The latest Cannibal Corpse album, you know, I listened to a couple songs, and it's so much going on. It's so fatiguing on the ears that I don't really want to return to it. The latest Morbid Angel album was completely ruined for me because of this. So, in my opinion, can the production affect how much I like the sound of a record? And I guess the answer is yes. But it mostly falls into this modern thing. I can't really think of albums that are so, like for instance, Aqualung by Jethro Tull. It's not a very well produced record. It's a little bit muddy and dull sounding, but it doesn't take away from the songs for me. I still like the songs. I can't really think of, except for maybe, you know, some of these bands that I buy, these obscure 70s bands where they're pressing like these long lost demos and they're pressing them on vinyl. Some of those are, you know, bad to the point of distraction. Pentagram, the doom metal band Pentagram, they've released a bunch of like demos that they did that are almost unlistenable. So there may be cool songs here, but I don't really return to them because some of them are just so rough. But those things, I look at those as more of like historical documents. You know, they're being put out there just, you know, it's kind of like an old film or something where it's all messed up and everything, but it's the only thing left that they have of it, so you appreciate it because of its historical significance. But I can't really think of stuff, you know, maybe like the first Cream record. That's kind of distractingly bad because it was done in mono and then they flipped it to stereo. And some of the early Beatles stuff is a little bit difficult to listen to, but I still come back to it. It still doesn't really take away from the songs for me. So for me, the production, it's really this modern production is what takes away from me being able to enjoy songs. So let me know in the description, in the comments down below, how about you guys? When does production affect whether you listen to an album or not, or whether you like an album or not? How bad does the album have to sound before you say, all right, I can't, no, this ruins it for me, and you don't come back to the album? You know, when does it affect the music? Even if the songs are great, you can't listen to it. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. How does sound quality and production affect your enjoyment of a record? Let me know in the comments down below. Until we see you again, make sure you stay heavy, stay metal.